Well, thank you very much, and it's a real pleasure to be here. I'm going to spend most of my time talking about the role of education in today's economy and why we need to have more programs like Strive and support for that. In a way, the most compelling argument for the kinds of programs Strive is the ones that have already been given. I'm really just going to try to talk a little bit about the macroeconomic perspective, more global perspective, as opposed to the individual perspective which they've already provided. It's probably no news to anybody in this room or anywhere in the country that we're in an economic recession. But while we've been focused on the economic recession, some of the long-run problems of our country have continued to fester. In fact, one of the real concerns is that the resources that we have available to deal with some of these long-run problems will actually be diminished, and our national commitment to deal with these problems will be impaired simply because of the rising deficits and national debt that it has been an inevitable consequence of dealing with the economic crisis. One of the real problems that the country faces is the problem that we have not been investing enough in education. I think it's very clear that the country has misallocated financial resources at a massive scale. The United States always does things better than other countries, and our misallocation of financial resources has been really mind-blowing. It's not just the fact that hundreds of billions of dollars of money that could have been productively used were used to finance mortgages beyond people's ability to pay, but the loss of our output, the difference between our economy's actual output and our potential output as a result of this recession, as a waste of resources, literally is already in the trillions of dollars. So, this is sort of the context in which we are operating today. But even probably more important than the waste of these financial resources is the waste of human resources, which is the one thing that can't be replicated. And there are many dimensions to this, you might say, waste of human resources. One aspect, of course, is that as a teacher that I've always felt, is that some of our best talents went into areas that were probably less productive socially than they might have been. But two other real concerns are that we are not giving our young people the quality of education. That's a really hard problem. But a problem that actually is soluble is the fact that there are many Americans who have abilities who are not being given the educational opportunity that they deserve. This is the problem of access. I'm a trustee at Amherst College, and it's one of the things that we've been at Amherst been most concerned with. The fact is that if you look at the socioeconomic groups from which we draw our students, it's almost entirely from the top. And we've made a great deal of effort to broaden it out, but in spite of that, we've really not succeeded, at least not succeeded in the way that we have. And Amherst is one of the unusual places because there really is a total commitment on the college and the trustees of the college to broaden our student base. And one of the reasons is that it's very difficult to get into the students, to get into the high schools, to make the connections. And that's really one of the unique things. There are a few programs, but one of the few programs that are really actually trying to do this is Strive. You know, some numbers may sort of illustrate the magnitude of what's at stake, and this is, you know, Amherst experience is reflective of what is going on in most of the top colleges. Of the top 146 colleges with the best resources and graduation rates, only 3% are from the bottom income quartile, from the bottom 25%. Only 3% of these students. And only 7% are from the second quartile. So basically our top universities have not been able to get down to the bottom 40%. And this is it's really a national tragedy that we have to, in one way or another, address. The consequences for our economy can be put in a number of different ways. Jacob talked about one of the numbers, you know, the hundreds of billions of dollars that our economy would be, GDP would be higher if those with lower income had the same access to education that those of that rest of our society. But there are some other numbers that recently come out that are really very striking, that I think most Americans really haven't followed what has been happening over the last 30 years. And you know, this is something that's not been happening just in the last 5 or 10 years. This is really a trend. Since 1980, the gap between high school graduates and college graduates always got more, but the magnitude of that gap has really tripled in the last, since 1980. So the opportunities, the income opportunities of those who don't get onto college today are really dismal. But another number that is really perhaps even more striking, it's not just a question of their relative position. We live in a modern, in an economy that has increasingly become a knowledge economy. You have to have skills to get anywhere in life. A college degree is increasingly necessary to just make a basic income. So what has happened to those who are high school graduates is not just that they haven't been able to keep up relatively. We sort of, there was a lot of discussion that, but even absolutely. So the median income is those that right in the middle, half above, half below. We're not talking about poverty now. We're talking about the people in the middle who are high school graduates. You look at what's happened to them since 1980. Median income for Americans who are high school graduates has declined more than 25%. It's gone from 44,000. This is adjusted for inflation. So adjusted for inflation, it's gone from 44,000 down to 32,000 for males. And for females, of course, we've always known that there's discrimination. But in 1980, it was just short of 29,000. And now, for a median income, people in the middle with a high school education, the income is down to 25,000. So what these numbers illustrate is that if we don't give these students an opportunity to get a college education, their life expectancy, their opportunities are really very greatly diminished.